getting me and Harry, giving me and Harry away to them. Either. It's actually turning into an Irish accent. I know that they must have done what they must have done to you to get you to talk. God knows how. Why would he say God? Okay. They forced me to tell them enough. I nod. They told me that they tortured you to get you to talk. He nods back. I couldn't hold out against it any more than you could. I've told them things. He trails off. I know that he's suffering with as much guilt as I am. They could have gotten him to give away anything about his family, or Harry, or the Order. I grip at his hand. I couldn't help what you did. You couldn't help what you did, Ron, I said quietly. No human being could hold out against that sort of pain. I know. You did the same to me. Funny how you can reassure him easily enough, but you can't do the same to yourself. He smiles a small, bitter smile. That's when I notice how different he looks. I think it's in his eyes, but there's a darkness in him that wasn't there before we were captured. It's like a spark has gone out of him. It almost makes him look like a different person. But then I suppose that I'm a completely different girl from the one I was before all this happened. Neither of us are going to be the same again. But he smiles and brushes my tears away with his thumb, and I realize that we haven't changed. Not really. Who brought you down here? Erin did. I just woke up in my bedroom. They've given me, and I found a note with my plate of food. It had this ring on top of it. He holds out his hand to show me that he's wearing a tiny silver band on his ring finger. The note said that if I wanted to see you, I had to put the ring on. So I did, and that sort of just transported me here. I nod. Did the note say who had written it? I ask. He shakes his head, but I know who wrote that note. Of course I do. Why is he letting Ron visit me? They're keeping you in here. I kind of sound like, no, I don't. I'm not even gonna say it. He asked indignantly, looking around the room. God, even I've got a better, my own bedroom. No, no, I don't think I'll be here for long, I say reassuringly. I had my own at first, but Malfoy, he just said he wants to keep me here for the time being. Ron's face darkens. Full. He didn't say, I reply, because I didn't want to tell him what's really going on. I don't want him to have to worry about me, about what's happening to me, on top of everything else. I hate how I have to lie to my best friend because of Lucius, bloody Malfoy. I read that really poorly. I'm sorry. I'm sure it's not anything bad though, I say hurriedly, because his ears are turning red. That's a danger sign with him. I won't be here for long. He said so. I think he just wants to try to mess with me, my mind, by shutting me alone in here for a while. It's nothing I can't cope with, so don't worry. Bastard, he mutters. What does he want from you now? He didn't say, I reply. I could tell him what's really going on, but what's the point of letting him worry about me any more than he has to? I think he just wants to teach me some obedience, that's all. I was a bit rude to him when we first arrived here. It's nothing I can't handle, really. I've hardly seen him since we arrived. Bastard, he says again. His lips set in a thin line. I rub... Sorry. She doesn't even say that she stabs him. That would have been a funny story. I rub at his arm in the way that I hope is a comforting gesture. Have you got your own room then, too then? I asked tentatively, trying to change the subject. He allows himself a tiny, reluctant grin. Yeah, it's quite good, actually. Compared to with the salary we had before. I can only do one kind of English, by the way. There's like 7. And I can only do one. I grinned back at I'm in Cockney too, I guess. I don't know if those are real. Anyways, I grinned back at him. But do you have a dressing table, a wardrobe, and your very own in-suite bathroom like I do? He laughs, and I laugh with him. Feels good to smile, to really smile. Oh yes, he says. In fact, I have more. I gasp mockingly. Pray tell, what do you have? A rug, he says, and sends us into giggles again. He scoots up next to me, and a pair of us sit on our backs against the wall. I rest my head on his shoulder, and he turns his fingers gently over my hair. What was that? My eyes shift for a second to the corner of the room. I could have sworn I heard nothing. It's a very old house, shifting itself, that's all. I close my eyes, savoring this moment with Ron, because I don't know how long it will last. What happened when they arrived at the burrow? I asked after a while. I didn't know exactly what happened. I need to get it clear in my mind, the result of my betrayal. Self-validation? Self-valid... That is not a word. Hold on. Hold the boop on. That is not even sort of a word. I'm just gonna say self-allegation, though it might be. I don't even know. I don't even know what she's trying to say. Okay, don't it? Okay, something... Full allegation. It's allegation. She just put an F and an L before it, I think. It might be, but I deserve it, don't I? Ron takes a deep breath. Ron takes a deep breath. That happened. We were all in the living room, trying to work out how to rescue you. Tonks was there, and so was Lupin. And a few other members of the Order. Most of them were trying to convince us to give up. They said that you were probably dead anyways. But me and Harry... Fuck, I didn't read any of that in an English accent. Oh, well. Well, we wouldn't accept it. The low voice works. Everybody else is gonna be English. Everyone good is not English, and everyone bad is English. That is how racist I am. Somehow I get against English people. It's such an evil... Okay. We wouldn't accept it. We weren't going to give up on you. I wonder if that sounds really low. Hold on. My stomach flips with love for the both of them. Anyways, Jenny came bursting in and told us that you were that there were Death Eaters coming towards the house. Me and Harry got ready to fight, but Tonks stunned him before he could do anything. I let my breath out in a slow whistle. What did he do that for? What did she do that for? You know, because Tonks is a she, and I know that. She said there was no point in putting the Chosen One risking his life if he wasn't fully prepared to face Voldemort. She dragged him to the fireplace and used Floo powder network to get him out of there. Don't know where she took him. I shook my head. God, Harry's going to be so pissed off with her. I know. Answers quietly. It was clever of her, though. I smile at myself. Fuck. It was clever of her, though. I thought to myself. I smiled to myself. I always like Tonks. Yeah. There's a sadness in his voice. Neither of us say what we're both thinking. That we're never going to see Tonks again. That we wish we'd got to know her properly before. When we'd had the chance. Ron shakes his head. Anyways. By the time the pair of them and got out of that Death Eaters were breaking down the door. Mom grabbed Jenny and we apparated, but the rest of us stayed to fight. Dad tried to convince me to apparate after that, but I wouldn't go. It doesn't sound like Ron at all. I don't really care. You can't really mimic him very well. I lift my head up to look at him. Why didn't you leave when you had a chance? He smiled sadly. I couldn't give up on you, Hermione. I know that the Death Eaters had taken you. My stomach is completely empty. Everything's my fault, all of it. He'd been at home with his family if it wasn't for me. I really am going to cry. I sniff and smile back at him, trying to harden my eyes inside of me, my tears inside of me. Because what good will they do now? I take hold of his hand and grip at it hard. Hermione. He's got a tentative tone in his voice. Malfoy, I know that he was given charge of you at first. He told me when you first came to question me, but I feel my heart tie itself in a knot. Hey, Ron goes slightly pink as he tries to voice himself. When he tried to get me to speak, I wouldn't tell him anything at first, but then he pressed his lips together. What did he do, Ron? He looks at me straight in the eye then. I see as much anger and fear there, and then for a moment, he doesn't look like Ron Weasley at all. He told me that if I didn't give you what he wanted, then... He takes a deep breath and lets it all out. He said he'd have to rape you in front of me. What? I can hardly believe my ears. Of all the cheap, nasty, low things he could have... Has he touched you? If he has, I swear... He hasn't, I say her hastily, and I don't think he ever will either, so don't worry about it. How do you know, though? He asked desperately. I know because he dropped hints about it. But then laughed and said that he wouldn't dirty his hand on a filth like me. He actually said, I don't touch mudbloods. And anyways, when Dolohop, I trailed off, letting my words disappear into the air, because I don't want to tell him about that. Too late. Ron's ears are burning bright red with anger. What did Dolohop do? Nothing, I say altogether too quickly. And his grip on my hand tightens, pulling a small gasp from my throat. Tell me, Hermione. It was nothing. Nothing. It didn't feel like nothing at the time. I pushed that thought away. It was just, well, Dolohop tried it on, sort of, but Lucius stopped him. He said that it would shame a pureblood, but Ron's breathing is suddenly heavy. I covered his hand. Ron, it doesn't matter, don't you see? What I'm trying to say is that Lucius won't let them do anything, so it's all right. I'll kill him, he says quietly. Who? Lucius? She said Lucius like 3 times. Anybody else? He's like Malfoy, and she's like Lucius. I'm done. Okay, he pauses. Both of them, him and Dolohop. I'll kill them for what they've done to you. I put my arm around his shoulders. Come on, I'm fine. And anyway, what about you? They've treated you worse than they've treated me. No, they haven't, he says quietly. When I first came here, they tortured me. When they first came to torture me, they said that I was lucky, that I wasn't Muggle-born like you. They said that they would be more lenient with me because of my blood. It wasn't long before Malfoy threatened to have you hurt, and I told him everything. I rubbed at his arm, not knowing what else to do. It'll be all right, Ron. I promise you. How can you promise that? he asked violently. "How can you say that everything will be alright when you're under the control of those fucking psychos?